The discussion about a potential future of a Trump presidency is sort of going around the internet at the moment, and it hinges on how much influence he could exert over the US political and legal landscape. The American system, by its design, is resistant to a concentration of power, a structure crafted specifically to ward off the spectre of tyranny. And this separation of powers between the executive, the legislative, the judicial branches ensures that even the most forceful president cannot unilaterally dictate national policy without encountering institutional checks. In fact, in many ways, I think the American president is less powerful in the nation than the British Prime Minister would be in Britain. Trump's inclinations towards an imperial style of leadership, therefore, characterized by centralizing power, marginalizing dissenting voices, this isn't new. The Constitution, however, remains an enduring barrier to any aspirations of absolute control. Much like the Senate in the Roman Republic. The only person who became dictator in the Roman Republic really was Sulla, until Julius Caesar. The president can wield significant influence through executive orders, policy direction, appointments, and these are often subject to judicial review and legislative pullback. Or pushback. I don't know what's a pullback, what's a pushback. It's all about a leading left or a leading right and a left uppercut or whatever it is. But I suppose that's all to do with Mike Amesbury. Or do you know that wonderful film, The Happiest Millionaire, which is all about boxing? It's such a charming film. It was one of those films which sort of defined my childhood. That, Thoroughly Modern Millie and Mary Poppins. For instance, while executive orders can be sweeping, they can be reversed by future administrations or blocked by the courts. And the midterm elections, notoriously unpredictable, can also shift congressional dynamics, making sustained unilateral governance difficult. Compared to a British Prime Minister who commands a majority in Parliament and can more straightforwardly enact policy, a US President must navigate a labyrinth of checks and balances. The Prime Minister's dominance within the Westminster system contrasts sharply with the US President's comparatively curtailed legislative power. Even when allied with the Congress, Trump's previous term showcased both his ability to drive executive action and the limits imposed by these constitutional restrictions. Project 2025 suggests Trump's plans to expand executive authority, focusing on reshaping government institutions to better align with his administration's objectives. However, such ambitions would likely invite fierce opposition from civil society, entrenched bureaucracies, and even factions within the GOP wary of presidential overreach. Internationally, a Trump return could signal a shift in the US's global posture, with allies such as Ukraine potentially seeking or seeing a reduction in support, reflecting Trump's transactional approach to foreign policy. This outlook, if actualized, could destabilize existing alliances and recalibrate international power structures globally. Ultimately, while Trump's potential return would be significant, the safeguards against concentrated power built into the American system and the vigilance of an engaged public and a robust media would shape, challenge, and potentially limit his ability to enact far-reaching authoritarian measures. It doesn't mean that this is going to restrain any damage he can do, and I'm particularly concerned about the damage that he could do to Ukraine and enforcing a peace on Ukraine which isn't acceptable, which would simply put on ice the Ukraine conflict, while Putin walks all over Ukraine. That would be horrific. Somebody in the comment section actually earlier today said that Trump will stop the Ukraine war, would stop the Russian war, will give Russia what it wants, and demand President Zelensky's retirement. And Zelensky can then scurry away with all the money that he's ferreted. I don't believe Zelensky is embezzling money. I simply don't believe it. I think this is Putin propaganda, because Putin assumes everybody behaves like him. Zelensky is a man who is anchored in fighting corruption. And I don't believe he's corrupted. I believe he's so driven by a determination to represent his country in all aspects of life. And I find it really quite shocking to see that sort of Putinist propaganda in the comment section. As for Trump, the ghost of tyranny, long feared by the founding fathers, might linger, but the tools to keep it at bay remain deeply embedded in America's political fabric. And actually, just as I finished, what was that song in The Happiest Millionaire? There's the pom pom. I can't remember where Cordelia asks the girl she's in a dorm with to teach her how to flirt. But the real song is the song with Tommy Steele. It's Fortuosity, that's my byword. But I don't think fortuosity is a word. But the idea that you look upon life with optimism and opportunity drops into your path, that is the American dream, isn't it? And that's not a dream which is going to be hoodwinked by Trump. And Trump has many values which are to be lauded and celebrated. Let's not forget that.